Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it is time for the Monday Q&As. And I apologize if I sniffle a bit through these. I've got a cold today. It just came out of nowhere, but I need to get these done anyway, so let's get to it. You mentioned in a previous video that you see many weightlifters consume too much protein. How much protein would you recommend for a person on a bulk, a cut, for natties, of course? Okay, you're going to find when you're in this industry, most of the people who are recommending higher protein intakes oftentimes have some sort of financial involvement with the supplement industry. When you have independent coaches and experts and sports nutritionists who work with elite athletes around the world, you'll generally see for gaining muscle recommendations of 1 gram to 1.6 grams per kilogram of body weight, not pound. So for me, I'm 100 kilos, so that's 100 to 160 grams. Now, for cutting, who knows? There's data showing higher and higher needs depending on how lean you are and how fast you're cutting. So I would say those same numbers could apply for someone who's not very lean and they're slow cutting. If you're 15% body fat and you start cutting and you're at a fairly small deficit, you could probably stay at those numbers and cut just fine, maintain all your lean body mass, and do perfectly well. If you're a competitive bodybuilder in contest prep, you might very well need to go over 1 gram per pound of body weight to maintain all of your lean mass. So it really depends on the cutting. But in general, the faster you cut and the leaner you are, the more protein you need. It's a sliding scale. And I don't think any expert has written out a perfect formula for that yet. So just try to do your own research and do the best you can there. But as far as the other recommendations go, I know plenty of experts who work with elite athletes or even who work in contest prep for bodybuilders who still make the same type of recommendations I do, and they produce champions just fine. All right, next question. Hi mate, can you give your advice on correct breathing methods for deadlifting and squatting? Cheers. All right, on both of these, before you start the concentric rep, you want to have a full deep breath. So on your squat, what I usually recommend is that you hold your breath on the way down. So you want to get a deep breath, your stomach full of air, your lungs full of air. Do the eccentric and then exhale as you're driving up out of the bottom. Now, since you don't have an eccentric on the deadlift, you want to do the same thing. Take a deep breath, full lungs, full belly full of air so that you can push out with the abs and then pull off the floor and exhale hard. As it becomes more difficult to lift it, you want to go ahead and start to exhale then. But you definitely, when you start the concentric part of either lift, you want to have a full belly and full lungs full of air, as much air as you can get in. And that is what's going to give you the most strength on the lift, and it's going to give you the most stability on the lift as far as keeping your core and everything in the correct position. All right, next question. What's your take on training to induce sarcoplasmic and myofibril hypertrophy through different methods? I've covered this one quite a few times in the past already. The truth is, this is only a hypothetical scenario. We've never actually been able to get this to happen in a lab. When we actually study someone and we do muscle biopsies and other studies on someone, we cannot change their ratio of sarcoplasmic to myofibril growth. No matter what sort of training style we put them into, it seems to be completely genetically predetermined. And it's a cute theory that you can use training methods to induce more of one than the other, but we can't make it happen in the lab yet. We've tried. Doesn't seem to be any real evidence to support it at this time. And for those who are asking, they don't understand the difference. Muscle cell and muscle fibers, you have basically a cell just like you do everywhere else, and you have fibers on the ends, and those fibers are the contractile parts. And the myofibril hypertrophy is how thick those actual muscle fibers get. And the sarcoplasmic hypertrophy is how big the cell body gets due to the cytoplasm inside growing, which is all the cytoplasm, the organelles, all of that stuff inside the cell. So that would be sarcoplasmic growth. And they seem to be at a pretty much a fixed ratio for one individual as far as we can actually tell. So it's only hypothetical that you could do it to the best of our knowledge, that you can actually induce more of one than the other with any type of training. All right, guys, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time in part 2.